Convergence is upon us, and because you requested it, well, at least I know somebody did. It's time to learn stuff while punching crime in the face. This is Arkham Wednesdays, and I am going to start off by saying, I told you so, it's a Hunger Games ripoff. Now, it's not that Convergence is bad per se, it's just not very good. And trust me, I've already read about, 20 comics, which I had to pay for. Thinking, hey, this is gonna be like Zero Year, or, pre-Flashpoint, or whatever, and the writing's gonna be amazing. Wrong, this is a cash-in book that is trying to hook older fans, and I would stay away if you loved these characters growing up, because while they look like the same characters, they're not. Alright, so for the most part, storytelling is a tame Hunger Games, more or less. City versus city for survival. The strong city lives, the weak is annihilated by essentially a Brainiac wannabe. That's all you really need to know about Convergence. A little spoiler, he's actually the planet himself, the Brainiac I'm referring to. And Convergence is actually a nice idea if you think about it, seeing all your past favorites alive and well, kicking butt again, except DC and Dido have added a twist for older fans. They've basically been plucked from their world, and all their metahuman powers are now gone, thanks to, of course, the dome over the city, which makes them human, more or less. What I find interesting about the whole dome cities that they've selected, it's mostly Gotham, Metropolis, or Central City. Except there's way more Gothams than there need be. You have Pre-52 Gotham, Flashpoint Gotham, Kingdom Come Gotham, Bronze Age Gotham, Injustice Gotham. Need I go on? A lot of Gothams. So that means a lot of Batmans. But what I want to know is, why are most of DC's heroes and villains in Gotham? I don't even remember Nightwing, Red Robin, Stephanie Brown, the Titans, Wally, his kids, Roy Harper, Cassandra Cain, Superman, Lois, and half of the Justice League being in Gotham pre-Flashpoint. When Barry is going to Gotham to talk about Bruce, hey, I'm going back in time to save my mom and stuff, you just see Batman. There's no convention. Not every single hero in the universe is there at that moment. There's no Hall of Justice. There's nothing happening in Gotham. When Barry visits Batman, it's just normal. So why are all the superheroes in this universe on the day everything ends? It makes no sense to me. Sorry, but that just really bugs me. Now, there are a lot of comics from Convergence that we can talk about, and some were really good. The Wally West issues, Superman, Batgirl, but they'll be saved probably for other videos and something else I have rattling in my head to do later on this channel. The main topic for today, which I know you guys saw coming out a mile away, is Gal Simone's take on Nightwing and Oracle, how they were pre-Flashpoint inside this dome. What would they be like if, they were alive and not just erased from existence because of Barry's selfishness? For the most part, the issue reminded me of the classic Birds of Prey book featuring Nightwing as a guest star. That's how it plays out. The two, once again, are a couple, they're very much in love, and they have wonderful banter in the Oracle cyberspace world. It's hilarious, I loved it. However, they're not married, and that was clickbaiting of DC to say, hey, Dick and Babs fans, buy this issue because there's gonna be a wedding. They're getting met. No, they're not even living together. They're dating, if you can really call it that. But anyway, the issue opens up after the Cosmic Jailer, I'm gonna use that again, message echoes across all the domes telling people you have to fight to survive. So nobody talks about Fight Club, or in this case, Space Fight. Yeah, I don't think that works. In some Western-styled Gotham City, Flashpoint, Hawkman, and Hawkgirl have executed that world's Justice League and razed the entire place to the ground and claimed victory for Flashpoint Gotham, or wherever they came from. Then moved to the pre-Flashpoint Gotham, where their next target is set on Oracle and her champion, or whatever. What I really liked about the issue itself is it's business per usual as Nightwing. He's just doing his thing, he's smiling, he's happy, he's beating up crooks. It's all good. It's the Nightwing that we all remember. It's not the new 52 emo Nightwing, it is classic Nightwing. Puns, action, he's not an idiot, he's very confident, and it's just a fun read. But it's so short! Oh, it's so short. And it's not just a bias towards the new 52. The writing in comparison is just nothing compared to the older Nightwing books. It's no contest. It's not the same Dick Grayson. It's like a guy who is in a Nightwing costume, pretending to be Nightwing in the New 52, but he's not Nightwing. He's just some, you know, impersonator. A really bad one. Though he has great hair, which is a trait all Dick Graysons share. Anyway, in the comic, Oracle alerts Dick that Mr. Freeze is trying to steal some diamonds from Gotham's museum again. And Nightwing responds by saying, "On it, babe. Time for the flashy triple-double somersault deluxe through the skylight." And she's like, no. Hello, Boy Wonder. The city can't replace that. No dice. You can't do that. And he's like, "Oh, come on, puppy dog face." And she's like, "No, I'm gonna find you a side entrance." And he's like, "Sadness." Then he crashes through the side window and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to spoil your fun." I didn't get to go through the skylight, but kick! So, I mean, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. For me, that was worth the price of this comic. So props to Gal Simone for keeping the characterization of Oracle and Nightwing intact, regardless of what happened in the New 52. So, as the story progresses, Mr. Freeze barely does anything, and Nightwing makes his showy entrance, and the fight lasts literally like 60 seconds, like 2 little comic things, and then it's done. I would compare the battle to something out of like Rosary and the Vampire. So when that little bat comes up and says, "This fight lasted this long," yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Mr. Freeze gives up, and then he says, "Hey, I've stolen this all before. Why am I stealing this? I don't know why I'm stealing this." And then the police arrest him. They don't even have their weapons drawn or anything. They're just like, "Oh, he's at it again. I can't even wallow in my depression because the world is ending. We're trapped in this dome. There's no hope. No one cares about anything." And that's pretty much how the entire city feels. Everybody's given into despair, and even Mr. Freeze was like, "You know, I'm going to shake things up by trying to steal." Oh, wait, I did this already. So, yeah. The effects of all this depression and emo-ness does kind of mess with Grayson a little bit until Starfire, aka Corey, just appears and gives him a pep talk. And he's like, "I know exactly what I'm going to do because there's something that only I can do to make this situation better. And that's to go out on a date with Oracle." And it's a cute little date. We also learn that Ivy is actually supplying food for everybody in Gotham City. Well, this version of Gotham anyway. Using what was left of her powers, she cultivates the entire land and makes farm food, which is pretty cool because Ivy actually, in contrast, hates people. She loves plants more than people, and she's giving plants to people to survive, which is like, wow, Ivy is so much better in Convergence. I like that. Let's see more of that in the regular comics, but no. So Ivy, you know, she changed for the better. And in terms of dome life, for certain characters like Stephanie Brown, who becomes a nurse, Harley Quinn, who gets married to an ex-cop and has her own life, and the Joker is kind of like these crazy flashbacks that mess with her mind. And Lois Lane is about to give birth, and she's kind of like Oracle too. So yeah, those characters all had major pluses. Even Red Hood, who I really didn't like the Grant Morrison Red Hood, where he had Scarlet, and they were kind of like the evil dynamic duo to Damian and Dick's Batman and Robin. They were just kind of there. I really like how Red Hood is portrayed in the pre-Flashpoint world in the Convergence series. So I can't wait to see more of that because I actually like him in those books. Anyway, at dinner, shocker, Dick proposes yet again, and Babs shoots him down without even a second thought. And I'm like, no, why? And it's so hard because Dick Grayson really loves and needs her, and together, you know, they could kind of get over all this craziness of being condemned to this dome world. But she's like, you know what? I'm afraid of commitment. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to figure out what's going on. We don't have the normal situation. She doesn't even realize that they probably never will be able to go back to their own universe because it's gone. So she's not even going to be like, yeah, I'm going to marry you and try to make the best of this situation. Nope, don't care. I'm a single lady. All the single ladies, you know. So not long after this, the drama, evil Hawkman and Hawkgirl show up and attack this Gotham, demanding to speak with Oracle because they're saying, hey, you're the ruler of this city. And Oracle's like, yeah, I rule this city. Because Oracle rules everything because everything's wired. So if you love Oracle, yes, Oracle kicks some major butt in this book. Now, the Thanagarians warn, basically, Oracle that, hey, we're a lot stronger than the Hawkman and Hawkgirl that you knew from your universe, which it's kind of interesting that they already know that there was a Hawkgirl and Hawkman from Babs' universe and whatever. But these guys are super OP because they're Flashpoint, And Flashpoint was like World War IV. It was nuts. Anyway, they're looking for asylum, and they want to be in this city because they have this brilliant idea, actually. Because Brainiac or Talos, whatever, he says in Convergence that no city can work together because both cities will suffer and things like that. So you can't do team-ups to go up against the giant Brainiac guy, which everybody should do. You know, sacrifice one city and then just go and attack the guy with all these superheroes, because they would overwhelm him. I mean, there's thousands of different worlds on this planet. You know, they could easily team up and be like, all right, we're taking you down. Then, of course, they'd probably all cease to exist. Or, worse yet, it'll be a dream by Dan Dido, and he's going to be like, I should make a comic of that. And it's like, no, Dido, bad. Roll up the newspaper and just smack him right across the forehead or something. No Dido. I'm not a fan of Dido, if you haven't figured that out by now. Okay, so anyway, they have this crazy idea that, hey, if we say we're from this city, when in reality we're from Flashpoint Gotham, and this city loses, we won't die. And then we can just go to the next city, conquer that, and just repeat the process. And then eventually we'll get off this crazy world. And, you know, that's actually kind of a smart plan if you really think about it. And Nightwing is like, no dice, we're not doing that. And then he attacks them by crashing through a window, and it's really cool because you see the old Nightwing logo, and Babs is like, it's showtime, Boy Wonder, and he's like, yeah, and it's a pretty cool fight. Nightwing kind of looks like the Injustice version of the character, and he has like the Elektra Eschisma sticks or whatever. He's doing really well, and then, of course, Hawkman stops holding back because, like I said, there's the crazy serial killer guys, and Babs has to beg them not to kill him. And Nightwing's just like, oh, come on, time out. That's not fair. I was actually doing well. And it's like, no, he was fighting as badly as the New 52 Nightwing. Or, better yet, Chuck Dixon's Nightwing, who, you know, kind of sucked in terms of fighting. But great storyline. Anyway, Oracle basically has a huge fight with Nightwing. And Nightwing goes back to the Batcave to prepare for war and to get all the stuff that he needs. So maybe he'll get a cool suit, maybe he'll come back with a mecha, or better yet, he'll bring the Titans, since they're in Gotham for whatever reason, and they can all attack Hawkgirl and Hawkman and win a point for their city, because, you know, that's not really going very well. But all you need to know is the issue ends with Oracle hacking into Hawkman and Hawkgirl's robot army and saying, you know, the war's already started. And it's like she does that thing where she pushes her glasses up on her nose, and it's like, okay, it's about to get hardcore now. So I know what you're thinking. My biggest issue with this issue, funny how that worked out, is number one, they're not really together. That was a false advertisement. There's no wedding. There's no anything like that. They were preying on people's emotions to come and read this book. And it's like, no, you liars. That's not what's happening. And two, I really did not like, even though that this is the end of the world essentially, Babs did not side with her man. She stood against him. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is not how a successful relationship works. That is how you break up a relationship. That is how you cause division and drama. This is not a Korean drama. This is a Nightwing and Oracle book where they're supposed to be together, but no! DC's like, we're gonna let Dido have some fun again. And it's like, just fire Dido already, okay? Just nobody likes you anymore. Just pack up your stuff and go. Let Jim do his stuff. And better yet, bring on Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and Jim Lee would do amazing things with DC Comics. And maybe even Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns could be like a huge level now. He's done some pretty cool stuff. But I will give it to DC. This issue was entertaining, but it still felt short for me because the issue didn't last that long compared to the other issues that I read, like for Superman, Batgirl, and the Batman and Robin book, and even the Harley Quinn book was a really fun read, which I'll talk about later. I'm not sure if the next issue of Oracle and Nightwing is going to be in May or even later this month. I know they're releasing tons of issues of Convergence, so I'm really curious to see how this is all going to play out, or if the battle is just going to be like really small, like what happened to Injustice in Convergence #1, where they're defeated in one page, and it's like, you gotta be kidding me. So if they move the Hawkman and Evil Hawkgirl versus Nightwing battle to just a short little blurb, I'm not gonna be happy. To be honest, I really doubt that they're gonna kill Babs or Nightwing next issue, but Earth 2 Barbara Gordon did die, and Earth 2 Dick Grayson kind of met up with Thomas Wayne on this weird planet. So Convergence is not really being careful with past characters and situations and continuity. One thing I've noticed big with that is the recent Convergence issue, Shadow of the Bat, that has Azrael in it, which I'll talk about next week. But he's kind of acting like Batman's sidekick, and Batman is still getting over his broken back. So he's kind of like an old man. He disappears, and then Jean-Paul will go and do stuff like jumping on top of moving vehicles and avoiding bullets and whatever. And Batman just kind of is magically getting to his destination, but it's taking him a long time because he's not at his peak anymore. He's recovering, and he's just plopped into this universe. So yeah, it's really interesting. Also, if you're reading Convergence, you're not really going to see any new 52 characters because that universe is fine. It's not going to be messed with. But all those past universes, they're fair game for Dido. So I kind of have the sneaky suspicion that all these characters are going to save the world, band together, and then cease to exist, living on as only distant echoes through the chambers of time. And fans everywhere that are my age are going to be so, like, what? Older guys, some of it's a fun ride, but be prepared for a letdown. In all honesty, from what I've been reading, that's what we're being set up for. And DC, this is probably going to be the last of my money after the Convergence thing. Like, there's no Nightwing comics anymore. There's no reason for me to be subscribed. I do not like the idea of Jim Gordon being Batman. This is just kind of like, whoa. It's too much for me, so I'm going to get off the train for a little while and stick to film and animation after Convergence. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this Arkham Wednesdays Under the Dome. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys soon, and thanks so much for taking the time to watch. Bye-bye.